Barbeck is a proud sponsor of local H&R Preps.
Kelly, I just got a new cell phone. It's awesome. And I just shot a video of Nick at the game tonight. Oh my God, he is so cute. I'll send it to you right now.
We help you stay connected with a cute picture here and there. Buy local. Buy Barbeck.
Hello, welcome to this week's Preps Preview alongside Justin Conn. I'm Leroy Bridges. We're just going to go ahead and get straight into our top fives this week. It's been 8 weeks or 7 weeks we've gotten through, and I've gone first every week. So we're going to toss it to Justin first this week. I know it's shocking. Week 8, you get to go first. Come on.
Whoa, wow.
Let's get going.
Well, we'll start at the number 5. I have Mount Zion. I think they've played well enough to. It's a tough top 5 to crack.
It is, and they keep rolling off wins every week.
Yeah. Number 4, KZ Westfield. I finally, they've only beaten one.
That bandwagon,
they've only beaten one team with a winning record this year, but that's a
really good
team. So that earns you a top 5 spot for sure. This is a little bit. I'm kind of wishy-washing here. Number 3, I have PANA. I dropped them for number 2, not because I know they won 21-0 over Litchfield. I think that's a good win, and I'm not dropping them because of that, because of the low score. But I feel like he had to elevate MAROA a little bit after the way they played against TUSCOLA. So I actually put them at number 2, and I know this one's probably going to get people shaking their heads too. But I'm keeping TUSCOLA at number 1. My reasoning on this is they still have the most big wins.
Yeah.
No team can talk about 3 ranked opponents. I don't know if A&M's still ranked or not, but I guess we'll see.
Time, yeah.
Right. I still don't see a team with more wins than that. They didn't play well against MAROA. They laid a little bit of an egg against MAROA. I still think that they're the best team around.
Yeah, at the end of the day, all those teams except for KZ have one loss. So you got to pick your best. I've got St. Teresa coming in at 5. The Bulldogs kind of drop a little bit just because of other teams beating better teams this week. KZ Westfield at 4, I think up a spot from last week. TUSCOLA, I drop them 2 spots to 3, and it's just after that performance against MAROA, I push MAROA above them because they beat them. I know St. T beat MAROA. I mean it's tough to get into.
Yeah,
splitting hairs at this point.
Exactly.
And number 1, PANA Panthers. Finally been able to give the Panthers some love, and I got them in my top spot this week. They have a decently tough game against Vandalia on Friday night. They should be able to win it, but likely looking at 8-1 going into the postseason. So they're my number 1 team. Playoffs are sneaking up on us. We said this is going into week 8.
Right.
So we're going to take a look at some playoff teams. A team that we think is going to make it and a team that's not going to make it. Justin, we'll start off with you with the team you think is going to be able to get it done.
I'll tell you about both my teams right now because they actually play this week.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And I feel like that's maybe one of the bigger games of the week because of that. We'll go to the Little Illini Conference. The team I think that is going to make it is Cumberland. They're 4-3 right now. They lost 3 of their first 4, came back and played real well since then. They've won 3 straight games. They have Oblong at home this week. That used to be you pencil in a win.
Sure.
But not this year. Oblong's not bad.
Well. Yeah.
I do think, though, that Cumberland will beat Oblong this week. They better, because if they lose, they're going to have to travel to Casey in the final week. So, they got to get number 5 this week. Looking at playoff points, it's a little tough to say, but I'm thinking they're in as long as they can beat Oblong. Oblong has never made the playoffs. They're the only team in our area that's never made the playoffs.
It would be huge for them.
So there's a ton of motivation there. I mean, every team's motivated to make the playoffs, but that's unbelievable. They of course, they started by winning their first 2, lost 4 in a row, beat Lawrenceville Friday. Their last game's at Red Hill, so if they don't beat Cumberland, they're out, actually. They have to win. They have to win these last 2. They have to win. They have to beat Cumberland and Red Hill. That's going to be tough. Both those teams, aren't – it's not Casey and Marshall, but it's – still a pretty tough path, so they're probably a long shot at this point.
Looking at my 2, I got Monticello being able to get it done. The Sages, this might be a gimme, but the Sages could have punched their ticket last week, or at least taken a huge step in that direction. They're sitting at 4-3. They have Shelbyville, I believe, and another tough game. They should be able to beat Shelbyville. I think they play St. T still. So if they beat Shelbyville, they're in my opinion. Ocall points should be able to get them done there. Vandalia, my team kind of looking on the outside in. They were at 4-2 going in this week. dropped a big game they needed against Piasaw Southwestern. They dropped a close one there, and they finished with PANA this Friday and Greenville next week.
Yeah.
Those two teams are combined 12-2. I mean, that's a tough way to finish the season. So they had to win this past week to really have any shot at the playoffs, really.
Sure. You know, Monticello's loss to an overtime loss may end up being a good loss just because of the confidence they gained. They were sort of a team that felt like they didn't show up every week or whatever. I think that's a confidence booster, even though it's a loss.
Yeah, looking ahead to this week, some games that we're excited about. I'm gonna go to the Ocall, and maybe a game that last year was a blowout. And maybe people might think it's a blowout this year, but Sullivan Ocall Valley has a ton of motivation. They have to beat St. Teresa. They host St. Teresa. It's likely not going to be close, but I'm hoping the Redskins can maybe pull some magic out of their hat. And you know what? They look like they can win their last game of the year. They're going to have to win these final two to make the playoffs, and maybe they can get it done. I know Sullivan hasn't had this big of a game late in the year in a long time, and it's kind of nice to see.
Right, and you know, I know kind of joked a little bit about some MAROA kids saying they shocked the state when they beat TUSCOLA. That would shock the state.
Exactly. I mean, that would be legitimate shock.
I don't know. I would definitely. I don't even know if a paper would come out the next day if something like that.
Exactly.
We'd be in shock.
It would be a good story too.
And of course, the big Ocala game of the week is MAROA traveling to Central A&M. You know, these teams played twice last year. The first one was a classic. I mean, that was, for my money, that was the best game played last year in the area. And you know, if we can get just a little bit of that as far as the back and forth, you know, neither team seemed to be able to stop the other. You know, if we can get some more of that, that should be another really great game. The playoff game was almost a little anticlimactic last year, so hopefully it resembles a little bit more to the regular season game, and I don't really see any reason why it wouldn't.
Yeah, two great backs in that matchup. I mean, maybe the best two in the area. It's so hard to choose.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones, but with Evan Hayes and Gary Scott.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
All right, well, make sure you check out all the action on hrpreps.com. Also, we're looking to get some high school students making college decisions coming up on where you want to go. Hit us up at hrsports@herald-review.com. Just send us your information, where you're going to go, and we're going to get you in on this preps preview, maybe ask you a couple questions, and it'll be a good time. We're going to just kind of put together a little package for you. So hit us up, hrsports@herald-review.com. And we'll get you showcased on here.
Definitely. See you out there.